Hello, I'm Laura Cellier and you're watching Inside the Americas. Coming up in the programme. Forget New York and Los Angeles, San Francisco is now the most expensive city in the United States. Find out why Google and Facebook have been getting the blame. Plus, miraculous tale of survival or slightly fishy story. Did a man really spend more than a year at sea surviving on nothing more than dead birds and turtle blood? And following in the footsteps of the Cool Runnings crew, Jamaica's bobsleigh team has made it through to the Sochi Olympic Games. We take a look at their chances. But first, a former Marxist guerrilla is in with a strong chance of becoming El Salvador's next president. Salvador Sanchez Cerén has faced his conservative rival in a runoff. It's an important election for this small Central American country as it struggles to recover from 12 years of civil war. Catherine Clifford has the story.
He missed the presidency on Sunday, but only by a hair's width 1%. Former Marxist Civil War fighter and El Salvador's current vice president, Salvador Sanchez Cerén, received 49% of the vote and is feeling confident about the runoff.
Our hopes have come true. You've secured the continuity of change. Because if you gave us the victory in the first round, you will also bring us victory in the second.
But his right-wing rival Norman Quijano is not admitting defeat. After gaining over 38% of the vote, he's hoping to scrape a victory with support from other conservative parties.
We've begun an unstoppable march to a March 9th victory. All Salvadorians who want respect for the law, to live in a country free of gangs, a country where you can live and work in peace. We are going to show together that we can overcome fear.
Whoever wins will take on a country plagued by gang violence, struggling to leave behind the 12-year civil war that killed around 75,000. 40% of the country lives in poverty, and gangs control whole neighborhoods. Quijano wants to deploy the army to fight them. Cerén instead is proposing a program that would enable ex-gang members to rejoin society. He's focused much of his campaign on helping the poor and the fight against crime and corruption. Cerén appears close to fulfilling his dream of becoming the first former Marxist fighter to win supreme power in El Salvador. The former guerrilla commander laid down his arms 22 years ago. Accused of communism by Quijano, Cerén promised, if elected, to form an inclusive government.
And it's looking like victory for left-leaning politics in Costa Rica as well. Luis Guillermo Solís rode a wave of public disgust at government corruption to win a small lead over the conservative frontrunner. Solís has never been elected to public office, but now has a strong chance of winning. He'll meet rival Johnny Araya in a runoff vote in April. Now, it's been held responsible for everything from wasting people's time to stealing personal data, and has even been credited with helping to bring down dictators in the Arab world. Well, this week, Facebook, the world's best-loved social networking site, turned 10. Mark Zuckerberg's creation now boasts more than 1.2 billion users and has posted record earnings. But analysts say the site's days could be numbered. The next generation considers Facebook uncool and is turning to other sites such as Instagram. Well, technology companies like Facebook and Google are being blamed for a meteoric rise in house prices. San Francisco is now the most expensive city in America. The average rent is around $3,500 a month, and hard-up residents have been making themselves heard.
The symbol of a divided city. Buses carrying Google and Facebook employees from San Francisco to work in Silicon Valley have been blocked by protesters several times in recent months. Longtime local residents say they're being priced out of their own city by high-earning tech workers.
Working class people cannot compete with the salaries that are being given in technology.
Oh, the tech industries are totally transforming these communities with paying no heed to the people who live here right now.
In just 2 years, San Francisco rents have jumped 30% and evictions 170%. Ben Caddy pays $720 a month for his studio, but 4 months ago, he got an eviction notice.
Landlord seeks to recover possession in good faith in order to demolish or to otherwise permanently remove the premises from housing use.
And so Ben and his neighbors are fighting to keep their apartments.
We have nowhere to go. I mean, I feel like the polar bear, that we always see this horrible picture of the polar bear in the North Pole, and the little bit of iceberg he's sitting on is getting smaller and smaller.
Ben and Chandra live in a neighborhood called Mid-Market, an area long plagued by poverty and homelessness. That is until Twitter set up an office nearby, bringing jobs and wealthy residents. This luxury condo building, a symbol of Mid-Market's gentrification, advertises two-bedroom apartments for between $5,000 and $6,000 per month. The city offered tech companies big tax breaks to set up shop in these neighborhoods, a controversial policy justified by falling unemployment.
17,000 jobs have been created in tech since Mayor Lee took office. So we've been very successful. It's a fast-growing industry. And the great thing that we know about technology is that for every single job we create in the tech industry, 5 other jobs in our economy are created.
San Francisco officials have promised to add 30,000 housing units to the market by 2020, half meant for middle and lower income residents. As for the tech companies, they refuse to comment on the issue.
A fisherman who says he spent 13 months lost at sea washed up on a tiny rock in the Pacific this week. So was it an amazing story of survival, or was there something a bit, well, fishy about the whole story? Jose Alvarenga claims to have survived on a diet of raw bird meat and turtle's blood. His young companion wasn't so lucky, but for some, this tale just doesn't add up.
These are the first pictures of the so-called Miracle Man of the Pacific. It was supposed to be a one-day shark fishing expedition, but he says it turned into an incredible 13 months alone at sea. Jose Alvarenga, a Salvadoran native, claims he set off in late 2012 from the Mexican fishing village where he lived. A storm soon blew his 24-foot fiberglass boat off course, setting it adrift in the Pacific across 12,000 kilometers of treacherous seas. His teenage shipmate died of starvation after 4 months. Alvarenga says he survived by catching birds, fish and turtles with his bare hands.
I was going to kill myself. I wanted to end my life because my companion died of hunger and thirst, my friend. And when I found myself alone, I was going to strangle myself. I wanted to kill myself. But no, I asked God to help get me out of there. I miss him a lot.
Over a year after he vanished, he was found on the tiny Ebon Atoll in the Marshall Islands, thousands of kilometers from his starting point. Questions are mounting over his incredible story. After 13 months at sea, he looked plumper than expected. Doctors say he should have lost more weight. Fishermen from his home village, however, claim he did set out in November 2012.
He went out to sea on November 18, 2012. His colleagues went out in boats to look for them. They spent 4 days searching for them.
In an interview for the National Geographic, survival specialist Claude Piantaducci says his story is plausible. He said blood from birds and turtles is a good source of water at 70%, and seabirds such as gulls do land on drifting boats. So if he was clever, he could have occasionally caught one, particularly if he'd been able to catch some fish which would attract them. Miracle man or compulsive liar? The odyssey of Jose Alvarenga has met both fascination and disbelief. He's to undergo further medical analysis. Doctors hope they'll find evidence that will either confirm or discredit his story. For now, though, the Pacific castaway is preparing for a faster and more comfortable journey home.
Jamaica's bobsleigh team have made it through to the Winter Olympic Games in Sochi. The team that inspired the 1993 film Cool Runnings hasn't participated in the Games for 12 years, but now they're back and they're eyeing gold. Julia Seeger has the story.
We're a long way from Jamaica here in Evanston, Wyoming. But since 1997, it's been the official training base of the Jamaican bobsleigh team. Winston Watts and Marvin Dixon have secured a surprise qualification for the Sochi Winter Games, and they're now determined to come back with a medal.
I really do have a passion for bobsledding, and all those years, the past years, I didn't think that I did get the chance achieve what I was in the sports for.
It's the 4th time a Jamaican bobsleigh team qualifies for Winter Games. The first time goes back to the Calgary Olympics in 1988. The achievement later inspired the famous Disney comedy Cool Runnings in 1993. The Jamaicans' finest performance on the Olympic stage, however, came 6 years later at Lillehammer in 1994, where they secured a laudable 14th place ahead of the US and France. In order to attend the Games in Sochi, the Jamaica Bobsled Federation, however, was missing 60,000 euros. A fundraising campaign launched online became viral within hours, and click after click, donations poured in from all over the world. A telecom firm, along with national superstar Usain Bolt, also joined the fight with this short film.
And this is a story that needs to be told.
So you must always follow your dreams. So tell me again, how much am I getting paid to be in your documentary?
In January, the Jamaican Olympic Association said they would take care of getting the team to the Games, and the local organizing committee would take up the cost of the team from there. A happy ending for these 2 sledders who are part of what they call Cool Runnings, the 2nd generation.
So, you guys look great out there! Okay, good talk.
And finally, the world of film said goodbye to one of its most respected stars this week. The actor Philip Seymour Hoffman was found dead at his home, and that prompted heartfelt tributes from an array of A-list stars. All agreed that Hoffman was one of the most important actors of his generation. Well, this week, we'll leave you with pictures from his Oscar-winning film, Capote.
Have you read the article about the killings in Kansas? I think that's what I want to write about.
He says it's the nonfiction book of the decade.
We still haven't talked about that night. What's the name of your book? I can't finish till I know what happens. The world will see you as a monster. I don't want that.